You know what I love? These mini consoles. I was once into collecting real hardware and games, but I gave it up recently because the prices are just so ridiculous. It's an expensive hobby, so now I only really buy what I really want to play. I still enjoy old consoles and I still look out for bargains, but I wouldn't really consider myself a big collector or even an enthusiast at this point. The mini consoles serve a purpose for me where I can save space, hook up the consoles to HDMI and play whatever I want. Yes, the experience may not be the same and you may need to do some messing around to get the games you want on there, but that's better than paying some dork a premium on eBay. Absolutely nothing against those who still collect, and it's fun hunting down a game you've wanted for a long time, but it's just not for me anymore. I buy most of these mini consoles when they get released, and I will say that some are better than others, but your mileage may vary. For example, I didn't own a Commodore 64 as a kid, so I thought I would get the C64 Mini and explore its vast game library when I had some free time. Turns out I just don't enjoy Commodore games as much as I thought I would, and the mini console has started gathering dust. Another microcomputer I didn't own as a kid was any variation of the Amiga, and it's a computer I have very limited knowledge about. I did have a friend in school who owned one though, and I vividly remember having a blast playing Lemmings at his house, but that was the extent of my experience with any kind of Amiga computer. When a mini version was announced, it was something I was very interested in, and although I just received it, I've been having a lot of fun with it. The included games are pretty good, and they've made it very easy to load your own games onto the console so you can play pretty much everything that came out on the system. Now, seeing as I have limited knowledge with the Amiga, veterans will have to go easy on me and excuse my ignorance. I'm learning more about these microcomputers and I'm finding out what it was capable of as I go through the catalogue, but man, there's a real mix here of great stuff and, well, not so great stuff. There's a fairly decent port of Mortal Kombat on the system, for example. But on the flip side, the port of Street Fighter 2 by US Gold is an absolute travesty that's actually scary to watch. Look at this, I can't hit Dalsum at all. Come on, do something, you So yeah, it's a mixed bag, but some games look pretty appealing and some games do play pretty well. A few WWF games were released on the system: WWF WrestleMania in 1991 and WWF European Rampage Tour in 1992. Both games were developed in the UK and both games were aimed at the European market, seeing as these types of home computers were still pretty popular over here. Versions were released for MS-DOS, the Amstrad CPC, the C64 and Atari ST. WrestleMania was also available on UK favourite, the ZX Spectrum. But let's check out the Amiga versions today and see what's up. I've always known of these games and I'm pretty sure I loaded them up in an emulator at one time or another, but I completely forget what they are like now, so this will be my first time really playing them. So you can go on this journey of discovery with me and see how bad they are, because I'm sure they'll be pretty bad. Alright, so here's the cover for WrestleMania, and it's an odd one for sure. Ocean Software, the same dudes who published that Street Fighter 2 port, also published WrestleMania, and as mentioned, the game was developed in the UK. A development team named Twilight were responsible for this one, and these guys had also worked on absolute bangers such as Yogi Bear and Friends, Rough and Ready, and The Space Adventure. And after WrestleMania, they actually developed a port of Mega Twins for the Amiga that I thought was actually pretty good when I gave it a try. Anyway, I digress. On the WrestleMania cover we have the Stars and Stripes and the Union Jack on show. Again, this one was targeted at the European market, so we've got the British Bulldog here along with Sergeant Slaughter and Hulk Hogan. Hogan and Slaughter worked together at Mania 7, which happened before this game got released, and Bulldog, Davey wrestled the Warlord on the third match in the show, but you can clearly understand why he was put on the cover. Boot up the game and we get a nice WWF WrestleMania logo that's pretty promising, and we see an arena and a big screen telling us that Twilight developed this very game. We have two options: go for the gold right away or get in a practice round. I'm a little wimp, so I'm gonna get in a practice match first. The character select then, we have Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and Davey Boy Smith to choose from. That's it, you can't pick anyone else. There are other wrestlers in the game, but you can't choose them because they're all heels and nobody wants to pick a heel, of course. Let's check the bios here. This is kinda my thing, isn't it? Hulk Hogan, or the Hulkster, weight 303 pounds. He was billed at this weight at WrestleMania 7, so that's fine. From Venice Beach, California, brother. Birthday August 11th, yeah, checks out. Trademark hold, pile driver? What? Alright, so this is probably a game limitation, but come on, the leg drop couldn't have been that hard to add, could it? known for capturing the WWF Championship title for an unprecedented 3rd time at WrestleMania 7. Okay, favourite quote, what you gonna do when the largest arms in the world and Hulkamania run wild on you? Not bad, though I would have changed this to that doesn't work for me, brother, or another personal favourite.
The NWO is tits, brother.
Next we have the Warrior, £275 from parts unknown, trademark hold, the Gorilla Press Slam, known for being an unstoppable force in the WWF. Okay. Favourite quote, come and feel the power of the Ultimate Warrior. Honestly, you could have added any batshit crazy Ultimate Warrior quote here and it would have worked fine. Finally, the British Bulldog, £275 from Leeds, England. Davey was also billed from Manchester, but either's fine really. Birthday, December 12th. Nope, that's wrong. His birthday was November 27th, so God knows why they made that up. Trademark hold, running power slam, known for his incredibly thick physique. Big thick boy, that's grim, isn't it? We all know Davey's known for his incredible skills in the deadly arts of chin lockery, but let's let it pass. Favourite quote, the British Bulldog is gonna take a bite out of the WWF. No, they should have went with this.
I'm gonna remake history by winning this night's Royal Rumble tonight because I'm bizarre.
Character selection's pretty bleak, but let's move on. I'll go with Hulk Hogan and I'm gonna face Mr. Perfect in this practice match. God, I would have really liked to have played as Mr. Perfect. First impressions, this looks very much like the WWF Superstars arcade game, but Superstars obviously looked better and it also had 6 guys to choose from. I've got one attack button and it does this little slop right here that doesn't look painful at all, and yeah, great. Topping forward lets me run. Let's see if I can land a running strike. Yeah, there we go. If I get in close to Mr. Perfect, I'll lock up and I gotta press left and right on the D-pad really quickly to fill up this red bar, and I'll pull off Hogan's devastating trademark move, the pile driver. This is a problem. The Amiga A500 Mini only comes with a joypad, and if the CPU is an absolute beast at these lockups, then I have no hope. Filling that bar up fast on a D-pad just doesn't seem possible, and I don't want to wreck a new controller. Let's see what's outside the ring here. Absolutely nothing. Over on this side, there's absolutely nothing. Down here though, there's a steel chair, but I can't bring it into the ring. We can jump off the top rope, and there's the Hulkster performing his other trademark move. And guys, that's about it. There's no other grapple moves, or at least I don't think there's any more grapple moves. And the only other move I can imagine being in this game is an Irish whip rebound attack, but there's no way to whip the opponent. You'd have to play a game and hope the CPU runs into you. I will say this, it doesn't look really bad. The characters do look like their real life counterparts for 1991 standards, and we even get to see Hogan's golden locks flowing in the air as he runs, but I think that's where the praise stops. It's very basic, and I think this one would have got a little boring and very little time at all, but let's get to the nitty gritty and have ourselves a match. I'll go out and pick Davey Boy this time, and check this out. Mr. Perfect's cutting a promo. You might be big, you might be strong, you might look good, but you just ain't perfect. Brilliant. And look, I can select a reply. I started at the bottom, yada yada yada. I'm going to defeat you, Mr. Perfect, and I'll do it for my mum and dad and all of Great Britain. That's deep, man. Perfect, I'm coming after you, and when I catch you, I'm going to eat you up. Yeah, let's go with that. Mr. Perfect, I'm coming after. Okay. Perfect offers his rebuttal, and yeah, it's absolutely pointless, but it's promos in a WWF game from 1991. Good stuff. The match begins, and yeah, I'm screwed. The lockups are a problem. I can't win a single lockup, and I'm taking perfect plex after perfect plex, so it's time to get cheap. I gotta avoid all lockups and win this one using only underhanded tactics. I did go out of the ring and use that steel chair though, a fantastic experience that was. Going to the top rope and landing aerial attacks seems to be an easy way to bring Perfect's health meter down, but towards the end of the bout, Perfect just kicks my ass. Then, for some reason, he just won't pin me. Perfect plex, another perfect plex. He kicks my ass while I'm on the mat, but he won't pin me. Maybe because he's the first opponent, the game's just giving me a break, but I was ready to do the job here and I wouldn't have even complained about it backstage. I scraped through the first match and oh yeah, it's the Warlord. Warlord was also in WWF Superstars, but right here I have the chance to relive WrestleMania 7 using nothing but cheap moves. We cut scathing work-shoot promos before the match begins and god damn it, my health is low at the opening bell and the Warlord takes no shit, unlike Mr. Perfect. I get my ass kicked here, Warlord has no issues pinning me in the middle of the ring, so I gotta order a joystick from Amazon. Right, this should help with the lockups. And it's what we call a big old waste of money, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there is some improvement here, as in I can win lockups maybe 1 out of 5 or 6 tries, but just listen to the micro switches in this joystick. It's stiff too, like really stiff, it's very aroused. I'm afraid it's gonna break if I try any harder, so yeah, it's bad. I then took a look through the options and I realised that the shoulder buttons on the joypad act as left and right joystick buttons, so I was dumb for not looking into this a bit more, but hey, I can now go on and destroy the Warlord. After Warlord we've got the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and for some reason the TV screen has moved down, but that's okay. You don't expect these things to be perfect. It's here when I noticed I can just stand above the opponent, wait for him to get up, win a lockup, rinse and repeat. It's cheap as hell, but I don't care. This pirated game cost me money by making me buy a joystick. I'll take whatever small victories I can get. The Mounty's our next opponent, and what happened to his eyes? That's scary. After wrecking the Mounty, you then face the WWF WrestleMania champion. Okay, it's Sergeant Slaughter. Slaughter's health goes down a little slower, but he's still no match for my incredible shoulder buttons. Davey wins WWF. Yeah, British Bulldog Slaughter's opposition. Blah 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 blah. Man, I've never felt less rewarded for completing a game. These guys didn't care at all. They actually put blah 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 in the text. What a bunch of bastards. Twilight revealed Fizzy Jelly. They must have been promoting a new game here, but it never came out. We then see the absolute madmen who were behind this game, and I'd like to have a word with each and every one of them. The game sucks, on to the next. Alright, so European Rampage Tour was developed by Art Developments. They'd go on to port a lot of well-known games to Sega consoles, such as Bart vs. the Space Mutants and the Addams Family. They also developed Johnny Bazooka Tone, remember that game? European Rampage ups the ante by letting us choose from 4 characters. We're spoilt with this one, folks. And we can only play tag team matches, which is an odd choice, but let's not pass judgment yet. Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, The Ultimate Warrior, and Randy Savage are all available. And I was actually surprised to hear proper theme music in this game. There's no MIDI music at all here, folks. We get looped samples from the Superstars' actual entrance songs. Sean Mooney's here to welcome us to the non-existent Britannic Arena, and our first match is against the Nasty Boys. The game starts and... interesting. The first issue I had here, and something I noticed pretty early on, is that there's a real lack of wrestling in this game. During my first 2 matches, I didn't see a single wrestling move, and it's all about who punches or who kicks first. It's sheer luck, by the way, who gets the upper hand, and I got my ass handed to me while trying to find out what the hell was going on. Warrior comes in with the hot tag though, and after a lot of punching and kicking, I was able to beat the Nasty Boys and then move on to the next match against Money Inc. And Mr. DiBiase ended up destroying me in a matter of seconds. So this is one of those games that you need to look up online. First impressions aren't great. I do like the small details added to wrestler attires and whatnot, but still, it wasn't a great experience. So I looked up the manual, and apparently moves work in the same way as WrestleMania. You just gotta get in close. But good luck doing that when your opponent just wants to slap and kick you around. So out comes the damn joystick again so I can set up a practice match. Yeah, practice is only available in 2-player mode. I try to lock up and... either I'm doing something wrong or it just doesn't want to work. So I give it one last chance while playing a match, and yeah, 3 random lockups happen, 2 of which got reversed and I pulled off a wrist lock in the other. I went into this game fully expecting to play it for the sake of footage, but I honestly can't be annoyed slogging through this getting cheap wins because it really isn't fun at all. WrestleMania wasn't fun either, but at least I was able to actually do more in that game, whereas here I'm walking around and praying I can strike knobs or sags before they strike me. It's a mess. I even got pinned and the referee decided he wasn't gonna count, so there was nothing else I could do but reset the game. I was able to watch some other poor soul try to play this game, and yeah, it's simply a case of punching and kicking at the right moment. We can also see a few other tag teams here. The Natural Disasters are in the game, and the Legion of Doom are featured as the main bosses. But you gotta beat the other 3 teams 3 times over before you face Hawk and Animal, and no, that's not happening today, sorry folks. You also wrestle in Germany and Paris, but the final match is in Madison Square Garden. European Rampage. I do put up with a lot of crap wrestling games because I'm the kind of fan who just can't get enough wrestling media, and some of the more unknown or largely ignored games are right up my alley, but honestly, with the exception of the 5-second theme music loops and the okay sprites for the time, WWF European Rampage has to be one of the absolute worst wrestling games that was ever put out. WWF Super WrestleMania on Super Nintendo and Mega Drive was released the same year, and while that game does get a little boring after a few matches, at least you can still, you know, wrestle in it, to a certain degree anyway. And I know, there's probably an absolute hero out there watching this video now who's a master at WWF European Rampage Tour, laughing at my inability to perform moves and my lack of patience to wrestle 9 matches before meeting the Legion of Doom, but be honest with yourself, mate, this isn't good, it's absolutely horrible. So to wrap things up, don't pick up the Amiga Mini if you're looking for wrestling games. Do pick it up for all the other games you've never played before and have fun exploring the library. This is going to be what I play in between video editing, and I want to try and find the best games the system has to offer. So if any of you guys watching the video now owned one of these back in the day, recommend me a few games in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the SmackDown games resuming on the channel, and yes, those will continue in 2023. I just thought it would be good to show you guys something a little different or something that you've maybe never seen before. Anyway, thanks for watching this one, guys, and please take care.